are back to the steps, 12 steps, secular steps. And number 3, step 3, this is how the traditional one is, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God if we understood him. And let's make it more relatable to other people, Jim. Made a decision to commit ourselves to personal growth and change and let go of trying to control everything. So let's make a decision to commit ourselves to personal growth and change and let go of trying to control everything.
What is it about the third step, Mike? What is it about the third step that helps people? And what is it about the third step that makes people drag their feet?
That's a good question. You know, it's a powerful turning point, especially for first responders and others. And, you know, we're in the high stress control, high stress environments. And this step is more about, in my opinion, about intention and will and actively participating in your transformation. And it's about empowering you to take responsibility rather than surrender. And it's a process of change and stopping the relying of your own self-will. And I don't know if you've ever heard about it before, but they say it in recovery, self-will run riot. So when I rely solely on my self-will and I have this perceived control of handling any situation, a lot of us shy away from getting help because we feel like we should have everything in order, right? We should be able to take care of whatever we need to be taken care of. But this step is more related to making a conscious decision and to work on your recovery. All right. We got through step 1 and step 2, right? But not waiting for the right moment, right? Not putting it off, saying this is the right moment right now, starting now. And whether you're 100% ready or not sure where you're going, just starting this will definitely start changing things in your life. And growth does not happen by accident. Growth does not happen in comfort. It takes work and it takes commitment.
Yeah, the steps leading up to the third step, the secular version that you've developed, admitting we have a problem, that our lives are now unmanageable, step 1. Step 2, come to believe that we need support and we need tools beyond our current resources to restore us to well-being. And then step 3 is now it's time to make a decision. We've admitted, we've come to believe. Now it's going to be a conscious decision for personal growth and change and to let go of trying to control everything.
Yeah, control is a big thing. Control is a big thing. A lot of us have a hard time looking at control and dropping that control and having the patience to move forward because it doesn't happen overnight. This recovery does not happen overnight, and it just takes time, and we have to give ourselves grace. We have to give ourselves grace and compassion and understanding and, you know, letting go of that illusion of control. You know, letting go does not mean giving up. It just means stopping the fight against reality and focusing on what you have power over, right? What do we have control over? We don't have much control over people, places, or things. I have control over how I react to people, places, or things now. And that's the sense of growth. When I notice that I'm changing that way and I'm looking at life a little bit differently, that's when I know I'm growing in my recovery. And I give myself credit for it, that I've actually did not do something like I used to do. I've changed the direction of my thoughts and my behaviors. That's the biggest thing. I mean, we all have these thoughts going through our minds, but it's when we react to them and we act on them, that's when it becomes a little bit more difficulty sometimes. And getting back to the self-will run riot, sometimes we have that belief that we're alone and we can manage everything by ourselves. And that leads a lot to burnout, bad decisions, and isolation. A lot of us understand what isolation looks like. Isolation can even be in a crowded room with people that you know. It might be your partners, it might be your family members, but being in a crowded room, being in a room of people that love you and feeling completely alone, feeling like you aren't even a part of it. And it's a very dark place to be in, but it's very common. And it's not until we start talking about these things that people realize, wow, I have that same thing with me. That's what groups are for. That's what process groups are for. That's what being vulnerable is about. Those things that you don't want to talk about, or you're afraid that you're going to be judged by other people.
I had a really interesting conversation with one of my emergency responder clients during session just a couple of days ago. He reached out to me because he couldn't go to work. First time in his career that he couldn't make it to work. And he's been in the career for 20 some years. What was the reason he couldn't make it to work? Alcohol. A steady increase of the use of alcohol in his downtime. On his 4 days off, on his 6 days off, starting at breakfast and cruising through the evening. Now he's suffering the hangovers. Now he's suffering some of the challenges that go along with that kind of behavior. And so the first time in 20 years, he couldn't make it to work. So he called in sick. And that caught the attention of two really important people at his career. So I'm dancing with my words because I just want to protect confidentiality.
Sure.
But I think the people get the picture. So two people showed up at his house checking on him. First time in your career you've ever turned around, did a U-turn, went back home. What's going on? And surprisingly to this person, it wasn't a surprise to these higher ups. They saw what was going on. They figured it out. And now he's talking to me about it. And he's not at that place yet where he wants to give up alcohol for the rest of his life. He's at that place where he's contemplative, thinking about what to do next. When you said, Mike, self-will run riot, it's classic how he's acting on his own desires and impulses and ego without regard for others, consequences, or reality. Trying to control people in situations. I can keep drinking. I'll just take a sick day. First time ever, I'll take a sick day, but I'm not done drinking. Acting selfishly or manipulatively. Ignoring the feedback or wisdom from others. Being driven by fear, pride, anger, or resentment. Operating from a place of, I know best, even when their life is starting to fall apart. Self-will run riot.
Exactly. And then what do you do when you have an alcohol abuse issue where you're drinking in the morning or you're waking up in the middle of the night just to go back to sleep? You're definitely you're hardcore, man. You're really going down that road, and there is hope. It's just about, first of all, detoxing, right?
Yeah.
And then once you are detoxed, working with cravings and then working a positive program of recovery, whatever that looks like. If it's a 12-step, if it's AA, if it's Celebrate, if it's Refuge, if it's Life Ring, whatever you're doing, make sure that you are actually doing it. You made a commitment. You made a commitment to, at least in step 3, you made a commitment to personal growth and change without trying to control everything in our lives. And okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to create this change? And it's not a quick fix. Like I said, it's about trusting the process, even when we don't feel in control of outcomes. So we don't know what's going to happen. You're just taking my word on it and Jim's word on it, right? I mean, these things do work, but you just have to sort of trust yourself. You made a commitment to do this. And, just look at a time in your life where you tried to control too much and it made things worse. And also about, there's a difference between like letting go and giving up. I mean, I want to give up drinking. Okay. So we start talking about drinking. I want to give up drinking. I'm done with it. Well, how many times have I said that to myself, that I'm done with drinking? And I've gotten sober and I've gotten healthier, and wow, I made it 30 days. Okay, well, there we go. I must not be an alcoholic. I must not have an alcohol. I can stop for 30 days. and I get right back into it again. I could have one drink, no problem at all. And pretty soon I'm back where I started from, and probably even worse. But I probably made some really significant mistakes in those days after the 30 days that I thought I was fixed. And sometimes it's a perpetual loop. We keep on going over and over it. We never break that loop, and we never connect the pieces to our lives. So there's a difference between giving up and letting go. Letting go is like, I'm done with this in my life. I am done holding on to this negative stuff that's happening. And I want to take suggestions from other people and maybe have a better life.
Mike, it speaks to the opposite of conflict, the opposite of resentment, the opposite of isolation, and the opposite of exhaustion. That's where tranquility is. That's where peace is. And if you're having conflict and resentment, and you're isolating and you're exhausted from the rodeo, take a close look at your will. Is your will running wild? Are you living in reality, or are you denying the truth? And be careful, because if you're denying the truth, you're setting yourselves up for harm. What are the two things that the executive emergency responders were doing when they showed up at the person's house? One, wrapping him with love. We care about you. We want to help you. What's the other thing they're doing? Shooting a cannonball across your bow. Be warned. We love you. You're going down a bad road. Please be humble, accept help. Please listen to others and trust the process, or get some principles greater than your own impulses.
Yeah. And like we say too, I mean, you reach out your hand, you got 5 hands grabbing you, pulling you up. But it's actually getting to that point. And I see it a lot. I've seen it recently where, someone comes in maybe for the very first time to get help, and they still have all these secrets. They're afraid to actually let them out. And I've seen the road past that. I've seen the road on both directions. You have that fork in the road. Do I take a left or a right? Where do I go? Do I go to the honest route and just like fall on the sword and then see where it comes from there? Am I truly done? Am I done with this cycle that I've been living? Am I miserable? Is my life unmanageable? Yeah, maybe I already agreed. Yeah, my life's unmanageable. I need help. I need to get some other support groups out there. I need people to help guide me, and I'm willing to be guided and take suggestions. And that self-will run riot is you're taking back your control. A lot of people get into recovery, and it could be for mental health. It could be alcohol, drugs, PTS, a combination of all of them, any other kind of issues that we're dealing with, eating issues or gambling or sex or whatever we're dealing with, right? And we work on ourselves and we let go of those controls. And once we get a little bit better and we're feeling better, sometimes we want to take it back. I can deal with this now. I'm okay. It wasn't that bad. Or if we have secrets that we're still holding on to and the loved ones in our lives don't know exactly the full truth. In my experiences in life, eventually it does all come out, and it's usually not that great once you've been holding these secrets and lies for so long. So, and it's up to you. It's your choice. I'm not saying you have to or whatever, but you do what you want to do. But these are just tools. And if you're listening now and you're trying to contemplate where you're at, hey, that is totally normal. Most of us don't know where we're at, especially when it comes to recovery. We've never done this before. We've never gone 100% in. And if you're not 100% in, you're 100% out. You have to go all the way in. Or let's say, I strongly suggest you go all the way in. You don't have to do anything.
Mike, once you mentioned, and we talked about it in one of our podcasts, addiction is trying to kill you. And I use that all the time with clients that are coming to me. And sometimes I change it up and I say, alcohol is trying to kill you. Do you not see what it's done to you now? It's gone from having a couple of drinks at night to having a couple of drinks every night to slowly getting into your entire day to now it's into your breakfast. Oh, by the way, did you not see the executives show up knocking on your door this morning when you called in sick to work? Alcohol addiction is on the hunt. It's trying to kill you. And like you said, Mike, it's doing push ups in the hallway, waiting to get worse, waiting to take you down. And it's really important for you to have a wake up call. Those of you that are listening, those of you that are watching, if you're struggling, take a look at this. And remember the secret power that you all have as emergency responders. Not all of us get to be paramedics. Not all of us get to be firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers. We talk about this all the time. But there was a fire burning deep within you. Mike and I talk about this all the time. And now the time has come to tap back into that fire that's in you, that got you through the academies, that got you promoted, that got you through the precepting of being a paramedic, that got you into your supervision roles, that got you through your career. You do it every day at work. You call for help every day at work. You call for backup every day. Now's the time. Lean into it really hard. And if you need to, get on attack mode and think about it that way. What would you do if someone came up to you and said, I'm going to kill you? What would you do? Alcohol addiction is saying it to your face silently, but in action. Take a close look at step 3. Decision.
I love that, man. I couldn't say it better myself, Jim. That was amazing. And it is. Addiction wants to kill you. Mental health issues want to kill you. And like Jim's saying, it's doing push-ups, just waiting for you to, put your guard down and try to take your control back.
It's not easy. And in particular, Mike, we've talked before, if craving is involved in this situation, that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to push through. But if you can't do it yourself, if you have a struggle doing it or leaning into the cravings, the medications come a long way over the years with the ability to do brain scan imagery and to see what works and what works well. And there's some phenomenal medications out there these days that will help people with cravings. And you should do some exploratory into that direction. Do some investigation, see what's out there. Talk to some professionals. They'll point you in the right direction. I've known people who are hardcore vodka drinkers. A handle of vodka a night. What's that like? A handle of vodka a night. And for those of you who don't know what a handle is, that's a big bottle with a handle on it. And they're doing a handle of vodka a night, and their biggest fear is the cravings that are going to hit them. And when you can find the right medication that will just cut those cravings, 2 that come to my mind, they're the same med, they're used differently. One is Vivitrol, that's the 30-day injection. Another one is it's a derivative, not a derivative, it's a 30-day.
Naltrexone.
Naltrexone is the pill form. The pill form, thanks. Vivitrol and naltrexone are 2 right there that work cognitively in our brains. And it's not like anything that's going to make you nauseous or sick to your stomach. It's not that process at all. It's actually just stopping the cravings. I've seen these people that do the handle of vodka a night say, this is the most amazing experience I've ever felt. I've never not craved before. Now I'm scared. What are you scared of? I'm scared of when are the cravings coming back because I can't handle them. And the craziest thing, it doesn't come back anymore. And you start working the program. You start diving into these pieces and start working on all the things that you have not worked on in a long time. There's good reasons why you're drinking. There's good reasons why you're addicted. Is it the trauma from the past that you're having a hard time? Is it the fact that you've got that arrested development piece? I'm a 30, 40, 50-year-old grown-ass person, but I'm responding to the pressures of life like a punk-ass person, the punk-ass kid. Because I used drugs and alcohol early on to tamp it all down. Let's take charge of those things. Let's get that arrested development piece caught up with your chronological age so you can make wise choices in life.
Yeah. And then if you're dealing with substance use too, it takes over your body. Physiologically, it takes over your body and changes it, and you don't have control anymore. That's why you need to drink more. That's why you have cravings. That's why you have a dependence and tolerance. Your body's changing. So you have to get detox. If you're dealing with alcohol, you're going to be detoxed off with a benzodiazepine or do it yourself. I would not recommend that at all because the chances of a seizure is very great if you are detoxing yourself off of alcohol, but other drugs besides benzodiazepines, whether you're doing opiates, you got addicted to Vicodin, or Jesus, stay away from, I don't even know want to say it though, but it's so popular in smoke shops is Kratom.
Mm.
Don't go near that. Now they're going to go near it. It is not good. You will get addicted to it. I deal with people a lot. I deal with first responders that are addicted to Kratom. They advertise it. It's not regulated by the FDA. It's not considered a controlled substance. It really should be. Eventually, I think it will be, but it is destroying lives. It's not an alternative. It's not a safe alternative to anything. So please be mindful. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Mental health issues too. Jim was talking about medications that you can use also. Please open up the idea of using medications for your mental health. You don't have a drug or alcohol problem, great. However, you're suffering from PTS, depression, anxiety, or a combination of all those things all at once. You wake up with an overwhelming sense of doom, right? That's very relatable to a lot of us. Well, there's medications you can take that's going to help stabilize your body. Your body's not working like it should be working. Hey, that's the facts. We're human beings. We're not perfect, okay? If you have to sit up in your high horse and say, I don't take medications, I'm not a drug addict, you'll probably remain suffering. The people that I've seen that I've dealt with that face serious trauma in their lives, sometimes they need medications. And when they're willing and they have the courage to actually take the suggestions of a doctor that is prescribing them medications to stabilize their mood, they seem to really work well at that.
Yeah.
And to get into recovery.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on here with the steps, but making it more readable and understandable to anybody suffering from anything or nothing at all. Just practicing these steps in our daily lives will make us better people and feel better about living this life. But it's a decision to commit ourselves to personal growth and change, and letting go of controlling everything in our lives.
At the end of the day, we're talking about courage. That's a great word. It takes courage to admit that we have a problem. It takes courage to say our lives are now unmanageable. It takes courage to say we need help, we need support, we need tools. Our current tools in our tool belt are no longer working, and we have no peace and tranquility in our lives anymore. And we're hiding the secrets. And it takes courage to make a decision to commit to personal growth and change and let go of trying to control everything. It takes courage to listen to this podcast when it's hitting very close to home right now, but you're still here, and that's a good thing. Take the next step. Ask for help.
And always remember, Jim, what do we always remember? HALT and call for backup.
Don't get fooled again.